Namaste again, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. This is part of, I could call it an intention series, but I'll do different videos as it springs to my mind on ways to conceptualize setting an intention for a yoga class and how you can modify your practice or your postures during the practice to accommodate to accommodate or to weave yourself into successfully fulfilling that intention. If you're having an issue with yourself because you think you're too bossy, okay, and I speak with people who are like, they're type A or type A plus plus people, and they're extraordinarily bossy. They know they need to dial it back, and they just haven't found the way to do it. And it's a very honorable thing to want to sort of dial certain things back. It's a very honorable thing to want to boost things up too in life. Only we can decide for ourselves what we value. If you have an intention that you want to be less bossy, for lack of a better word, directorial, constantly trying to solve people's problems, and you just want to sort of like chill out and see what another way might look like, one of the things you can do in your yoga practice is go into child's pose a few times when you normally wouldn't do it. Child's pose is such a relaxing posture that is antithetical in ways. If the instructor doesn't have you going into child's pose, but let's say you're in down dog and you're doing vinyasas and you're not sun salutations and you're going through the routine, and you're the perfectionistic, get after it, go for it part of your personality. If you want to break some of that just to see what it would be like to be a little calmer and not so bossy, in a moment or two during class, go into child's pose when nobody else is in it. And it will show you a different way of being. And so I just encourage you to try that and see what you experience. Because in one sense, it's an ego buster. Because the instructor, any instructor for the most part, will say, if a posture is too difficult for you, or you're struggling during the practice for whatever reason, just come out of it and go into child's pose. It's a pretty common invitation, if you want to call it that, or instruction, that if at any moment things are too difficult, typically go into child's pose. So now you're admitting something's too difficult and you're not pushing through it, and maybe you're not even having a difficult time, but you're going to go into child's pose. And other people in the class are going to see you. And oh, is that an ego buster? Believe me, I went through this myself where as an athlete, I still have that mindset of go for it, suck it up, go for it, take it to the wall. I've done this myself where I've just dropped myself into a child's pose a few times. And at first it was almost embarrassed. I was like embarrassed within myself, like, oh my gosh. And now it doesn't faze me. If I need to go into child's pose, even if I don't, but I just want to during a class, I go into child's pose. But I had to make myself do it. But it did translate off the mat that, wow, nobody's even criticizing me after class for going into child's pose during class. They're not saying, hey, what was that all about? Or, wow, I thought you were a teacher. And then teachers don't need to do that. You're whatever. Nobody was doing that. Nobody even cared, really. So I just, if your intention is to be less bossy, to be a better listener, all of these things kind of roll into one, but just for simplicity's sake, just go into child's pose when you don't need to during a class and stay there for 3 or 4 counts of your breath, or 8, or whatever you deem necessary, and then just come out of child's pose and join the class whenever you're you've had enough or you're ready to join the class. So that's one benefit of yoga. That's one way of approaching an intention that you can overcome these personality or character issues or whatever you want to call them and come into alignment with what you actually may be believing in for a better life. So there you go. Namaste. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you on another video.